Hello friends, and welcome to our Virgo full moon magic concert. I've got up early in the morning and it's pretty much about an hour away from the exact time of the full moon, so I'll be harnessing that energy as we all will together, no matter what time you're watching this. The full moon is holding us all together as one lovely full moon magic community across the globe. It's really nice to feel those threads of connection, I love it. As I said, it's morning and I have coffee here. And this full moon magic's going to be a little different. I decided that I'm going to do a little cooking demonstration of vegan muffins. And I feel that kind of aligns very nicely with the Virgo energy, which has those lovely connection with the mundane and finding the magical in the mundane, and as if you've read this month's booklet, you'll see that. So these energies that are often overlooked and undervalued in our cultures, things like homemaking and cooking and gardening and things like that, really align beautifully with Virgo. So anyway, we'll get to that. Let's get ourselves into the zone, shall we? Being an earth sign, I might do a little drumming, and let's just bring ourselves into center. I might just gently trance out and sing for a bit, and it will just bring us into right here, right now, connecting with the moon above, earth below. Okay. Connecting in with our bodies, feeling that pull of gravity drawing us down through the base of our spines, through the soles of our feet, connecting with Mother Earth, Mother Earth. Feel that flow of energy out from the top of our heads, out through the crown chakra, opening up to the miracle of the sky, and drawing down the energy of the moon, letting her fill us with her beautiful silver light. Feeling that we are conduits between earth and sky, above and below. As we near the equinox, we enter into that awareness of balance, balance within, and finding that place of peace within. Let's welcome our elements. We welcome you, energies of air, of the smell of sage that I was burning just before we started, cleansing the air. Air of music and clear communication. Air of our trickster Hermes, Mercury, ruling planet of Virgo. Air, you're welcome in our circle. Blessed be. We welcome you, energies of fire, of the hearth, of Hestia, of contained fire. Fire that we can make useful. Fire that cooks our food, that warms our homes, that brings us light. Fire, thank you. You're welcome in our circle. Blessed be. Thank you, energies of water. Thank you for flow. Thank you for deepest feeling and for dreams. Thank you for reflection. Thank you for change, the ever-changing tides, the flow of rivers, the pulse of blood in our veins. Water, thank you. You're welcome in our circle. Blessed be. Thank you, Earth, on this Virgo, full moon, mutable Earth, Earth that likes to move. We might find that contradictory. How can a rock or a stone or a crystal be moving? But think about plants. Think about animals. We're moving. Earth, of garden, of herb, of food, of dance, of ritual. You're welcome in our circle. Blessed be. And thank you, Spirit. Oh, the everything. Our Blessed Lady Moon. Our golden sun. Spirit of Goddess. I'm honouring you today in this ritual as the Maiden, as Athena, as Artemis, as Hestia. However you like to connect with that maiden energy that transcends gender, that energy of youth, the page in the tarot, self-containment, of being our own best friends, of finding solitude and enjoying our own company. That's that maiden energy, complete within ourselves. Spirit, as the divine maiden, as the youth. You're welcome in our circle. Blessed be. By earth and air, by fire and water, by the power of spirit. This circle is cast and outside of time. This circle is cast and outside of space. Blessed be. So, being morning, there's going to be action out on the street behind me, our little Franklin Avenue here in Santa Fe. And I think it might be, it's Monday morning, it's going to be rubbish collection morning. So we're probably going to get a big truck going by at some point. But that's okay. The workings of our everyday lives are what Virgo's all about. We'll hold space for that. As I wrote about in this month's booklet, and also just in the little notes that I send out to some of you, Virgo's really undervalued in our culture. I think it's the sign, in my opinion, that is most undervalued. Often it's cast, this Virgo energy, as though it's neurotic and it has to be perfect and blah, blah, blah. That's not at all what it's about. Virgo is very intelligent and, yes, loves precision, loves excellence, striving for excellence, likes things to be just so and in order, But when given the right platform for that, then that turns into the most beautiful rituals of our everyday lives. There's just such flow and grace when Virgo is honoured and given space. And the things that Virgo is, and we all have, I talk about these different energies. It's not just the Virgo sun signs. You know, I'm thinking of my friends that are Virgo. Sure, they have strong energies of Virgo in the charts, but we all have the complete circle. We've all got the complete sky at the moment that we're born. It's there somewhere in our charts, some more triggered than others, but we can access that energy regardless, and we're in it right now, that pool, that beautiful pool now with the Pisces sun and the Virgo moon, that lovely, both mutable water, Pisces, mutable earth, Virgo. We're in it, and so it's part of us, you know, we're part of the universe, we are the universe, so we can access that regardless. And Virgo is giving time to those lovely, humble activities. Chop wood, carry water, make a garden, cook some food, make an altar, create a ritual, bring the community together, all those beautiful things. And very often these have, maybe in the past, but I think it's still true now, been associated with women. And like the rest of the whole everything that I don't need to go into, have been undervalued in that way. The gifts that women bring to a culture. And yesterday was International Women's Day, so it aligns very strongly with this energy. I would like to see that change. I'm sure we all would, and that we work towards balance between the genders, but also between honouring the divine masculine and the divine feminine, which again transcends, you know, actual physical gender. Anyway, let's get on with it. Let's get on with it, shall we? I'm going to sing this little song. My intention was to get up before the dawn. Our cat Oliver wanted me to do that. He was waking me at that time, and I just said, please don't, and fell back asleep. So it's already light outside. I just saw a big raven fly by. How nice. But anyway, I'll sing this song that I wrote when I got up before the dawn once when I lived in Melbourne. Went out to my favourite hill and actually got to see the moon setting and the sun rising. And so I thought it was appropriate for this, and also appropriate for that Virgo energy of everyday ritual. That's really what Virgo's about, everyday ritual. It's not about the grandiose, it's just about finding that magic in every moment. I'm awake before the dawn. Dreams have fallen from my eyes. I am waiting for the full moon set and sunrise. I am standing on a hill. City sleeps in lunar light, and the air is holding still, kissing the fading light, kissing the fading light, suspending the moon on a floating horizon. I'm awake before I can see the city rise. I am witnessing the world through my eyes. All right, what next? I'll do one more and then I'll start cooking some muffins. Here we go. So many years ago, on an album that came out in the year 2000, at my world, which I'm just listening to what that noise is. Who knows? My World Between World albums, I wrote this song as a reminder to myself, and it was called Slow Down. And at that point, life just felt so busy, it felt so challenging. Raising a kid, wow, that was 20 freaking years ago. Unbelievable. A lot was going on. Yeah, just a very different time in my life. And I'm just looking, I'll just show you this because it's here anyway. On my last trip back to Australia, I picked up this framed picture that I'd left in my dad's shed of me. Don't know if you can see that, but that was the photo taken for the front cover of World Between Worlds. And it's interesting, you know, having that in the house the last couple of months and looking and thinking, I was often sad and serious at those times. Life has become a lot lighter, feel a lot less pressured, and I think part of that is just a different stage of life, you know, that I have less responsibilities in a way. My kids grown up. But anyway, at that time I was working just so hard, just so hard, and sleep deprived, and really finding it hard to nurture myself, falling into pits of despair often. And so I wrote this little song, and I'm really happy to say that at last, it's taken me 20 years, I can say that I actually act upon these words now and do slow down a bit. I still flit around like a hummingbird. I've got my Gemini moon, but I also take a lot of time for solitude and a lot of deep time in nature, and I don't expect quite so much of myself. And you know, I'll just send out that little message on this Virgo full moon that's what took me a long time to learn, and definitely it's a change of circumstances that's allowed me the grace to have more downtime and more time alone. But I really encourage you to claim that time for yourself if at all possible. I understand that we all have our demanding lives, but if you can find those little cracks of magic, sometimes it's only a few minutes just to be in nature, to watch some ants or look at some birds or just look at the stars or take that time out. I really do encourage you. It's the rewards are enormous. Slow down. Here we go. Faith is beyond all reason. It's not like I can find it when I want to, or will it away. Everything has its season. There was a time I knew where I was going. What I should say. Slow down, slow down, slow down. your eyes on the dark horizon. Faith is a world of dreaming, seeking the path to where I should be going. The infinite now. Everything has its meaning. Omens are wisdom waiting to be captured. Unraveled somehow. Slow down. Slow down, slow down, slow down, slow down, slow down, slow down. Slow down, slow down, slow down, slow down. And focus your eyes on the dark horizon. Okay, so the art of making the mundane magical. Mundane just means the world, mund, the world. Of course it's magical. I might take this off. All right. So I tend not really to be using measuring too much. I kind of just use what's in the house when I'm making muffins. I make muffins all the time, and of course I'm vegan, so hence vegan muffins. They're not gluten-free because I don't have any issue with gluten. But I have tried making vegan gluten-free muffins from some friends that were over last weekend, and they were terrible. So I wish you luck with that. If you are gluten-free, then you might know some secrets. But anyway, let's start off with some organic flour. Okay, making magic muffins. Now, Virgo, as you know, is ruled by Mercury, the planet Mercury, and we're right on the edge of Mercury going direct again. I think tomorrow, maybe later today. And many of you will know that sometimes when Mercury is retrograde, that weird electrical and communication-y things happen. So that's what just happened for me, because I did the whole concert and baked some muffins and ate them and was talking to you and enjoying that whole thing, and then I looked at my phone and it said that the iPhone storage was full and it only recorded half the concert. So now I'm making my second batch of muffins for the morning, and I'll be able to do that. Here's something I prepared earlier, routine, because I've already got a batch of muffins in the kitchen. But anyway, let's get on with it. Here we go. Vegan muffins, as you know, I'm vegan. Super easy to make, really handy way to use up whatever you've got around, some bits of fruit that have seen better days, that kind of thing. They're healthy and quick and fun. And Virgo is all about honouring that everyday, the magic in the everyday. So those acts of cooking can become sacred rituals. So what I'm going to do, I tend to be a little haphazard with my measurements. I'm going to put a couple of cups of flour. I've got organic wholemeal flour. The first batch I did a mixture of wholemeal and white flour. If you were in Australia, you'd just use self-raising flour, wholemeal self-raising, or a mixture of white and wholemeal. Maybe that's the same for England too. In the States, self-raising flour really isn't quite so popular, so you have to add your own raising agent. So I tend to add about 3/4 of a tablespoon of baking powder, not baking soda. You'd add less if it was baking soda. Baking powder is like pre-mixed bicarb and then other things. So that's going in there as a raising agent. I'm going to add some delicious cinnamon. Pretty generous with the cinnamon. It's good for you and delicious. And I'm going to add about, where'd my little red cup go? Don't know, I'll have to do. Oh, it's one of those things, I'll just use my hand. Okay, I'm going to add about 1/2 cup of sugar, maybe about 3/4 of a cup, something like that. That's pretty good. And then I'm going to sift all that together. Very important to get flour all over your black velvet. That's part of the ritual, I think. In the first batch of muffins, I also had some nuts that I put in at this point. The idea is that you mix your dry ingredients really thoroughly, and I'm just adding the wholemeal back into that, the wheat germ. The dry ingredients really thoroughly, and then the wet ingredients really thoroughly. Found it. So that's my dry ingredients, or maybe a little handful of oats. And your nuts, seeds, sunflower seeds, chopped nuts of any sort. I'm going to do banana muffins. If you were doing apple muffins, you would add the chopped apple into the dry. Into the dry goods part, okay? So that's that. Now, the wet stuff. So, firstly, I am going to, because usually what happens in conventional baking is that an egg is used as a binding agent. Really, that's all that eggs are kind of doing in baking, is binding things together. Banana is its own binding agent, so you don't really need to add a binding thing in banana muffins. It will do it of its own accord. But I'm doing it anyway, just to make sure and to show you. And if you were doing apple muffins or something else like that, or I do lemon and poppy seed, you know, those kind of things, then you definitely need something to hold it all together. My first batch of muffins, which you will see me eating shortly, I used chia seed. And essentially you put about a tablespoon equals 1 egg, so essentially 2 tablespoons per batch. But flax seed, I've got organic flax seed here, ground, will do the same thing too. So luckily I had both in my fridge. Fridge is important. Flax seed, the oils in it go rancid very quickly, so you need to keep it refrigerated. So a couple of tablespoons of that. And then, some water. I've got hot water here, it will make it go gloopy a little more quickly. And then I've got a fork here. Can you believe that phone thing? I was so proud of myself getting up early and getting myself... Anyway, but that's that Virgoan thing too, of just... I thought, well, when I looked at that phone and it hadn't recorded second half of the concert, I thought, I could fall into a heap and cry and crawl back into bed, or I could just get the freaking job done and do it again using Tim's phone this time. Now I'm mixing up that flaxseed. I love the smell of flax. Super good for you too. And I'm just going to leave that sit there and it's going to get all bloopy. Now I'm going to add a banana. I've used all organic ingredients because farming is so dodgy here in the States that you really don't want to be eating non-organic food because they do all the GMO and Roundup and all that. They do everywhere, of course, but you know it's dodgy if it's not organic here in the States. So I'm mashing that banana up. It smells so good. Mashing it and it will get all kind of mushed up, a bit liquidy. It wasn't quite so messy last time. Now you add some kind of plant milk, whatever you've got on hand. This is Tim's homemade oat milk. He does a mix of like organic rolled oats, water, some raw nuts like cashews or walnuts, whatever we've got on hand. So I'm going to add, I'm guessing about a cup. I don't know if I've got enough left now that this is the second batch. We'll see. Oh yeah, I think I'll just add it all. Super easy to make your own oat milk, and it saves using plastic containers and whatnot. You just whiz it in a food processor, vitamize the thing, and then strain it out. You can find recipes online for it. That's the banana, the oat milk, and now a generous amount of oil. I'd say at least half a cup. Yeah, I use olive oil. I've always done that in my baking, even before I was vegan. It's really quick. It's much easier than like melting butter or anything like that. And you know, now that I love grease so much, I realise that all their baking is with olive oil. So we've got a nice generous amount of olive oil. Now let's see how this flaxseed is going. Doesn't get quite as gloopy and gelatinous as the chia seed, but it's still going to do the trick. It goes in with the wet. Remember, you mix the wet together really well and the dry together really well, in two separate bowls. So this is all of the wet, all of the dry. All these different places that this sacred food has come from, different people who have helped make it. That's that gift of Virgo, getting that job done. Now, you might recognize this bowl from my childhood. I've used it in lots of rituals, usually for the watery ones. Now I'm going to add, just thinking if I've forgotten anything, because I've flour, raising agent, spices, sugar for the dry stuff. I didn't put in nuts, bananas, oil, milk, and flaxseed for the binding agent. Chia seed's really nice too. Okay, now we're going to mix them together.
And you mix it with a fork. You don't want to use a cake beater or cake mixy electric thing. The idea is you mix the wet and the dry together quite lightly. You just want to make sure that all the dry is incorporated into the wet, rather than really beaten in or anything like that. You know, I think these are going to be pretty good. Smells good. Now, I've already oiled I've just put olive oil in my pan. And now we're going to fill her up. So yeah, any bits of fruit, if you've got an apple that's looking a bit sad, even oranges, you can do like orange and poppy seed and use a bit of the orange rind and orange juice. Berries, throw those kind of things in. They'll work a treat. Muffins are a great way to use up those odd bits and pieces, the last few nuts or seeds that you've got in your fridge. I think Virgo is very resourceful. Man, I'm going to have a lot of muffins in the house today. Have a little muffin party with my friends tonight. Get through them. Oh, I guess I can freeze them. That's an idea. I usually make 2 batches in one day, that's for sure. Last little bit. Right. They are going in the oven. Just washing my hands. Okay, let's see how that one turns out, yeah? Hope I remembered all the bits. I'm sure I did. I can add the recipe as a comment on this. Now, I think that might be too loud because of a new battery in this. All right. So, I'm going to finish up with 2 songs. The first is actually a reminder of the flow of nature. And Virgo as mutable earth is all about that beautiful energetic flow and trusting in the changes of nature, in her cycles. That's why Virgo is associated with things like gardening and that mutable earth quality, the change from seed to fruit, you know, and allowing for that and being patient and going with the time that this takes. But I'm singing this particular song for my dear friend Rachel, who might be watching, and her mum passed away about a week ago, and which is always sad, even when someone's old, you know. Still leaves a hole in our hearts. So this is a reminder that of acceptance and of trust in the cycles of nature, which include death, life and death and life and death and life and death, and trusting that the energy will always be transformed into something else. That's just how nature works. That's how the universe works. So here we go. This song's called All Life Flows into the Great Mother. Everyone that I know, everything every memory, every thought, every dream, every breath that I breathe, every planet and star, every animal, all life flows into the Great Mother. 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 In the desert a bone, in the desert a flower. They will come, they will go, take form and dissipate. Death is cradled in life, life of endless resolve, to continue the flow, to emerge and dissolve. I'm a wave on the great epic ocean of time. I will come, I will go, take form and dissipate. All life flows into the Great Mother. 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 So, that's for you, Rachie. For any of us who've lost loved ones, to trust, however sad, to trust in that cycle of life and death and life and death, to trust in the flow, to be there tapping in to the continuous changes of nature and to accept them. Moving seasons, the cycles of the moon, the cycles of in our own lives, our getting older. It's all just part of it, you know. So let's imagine that 15 minutes has gone by. That's about how long the muffins would stay in the oven for. At a relatively high heat. I've got mine at 385 Fahrenheit. I guess that's something like about 200, 220 maybe Celsius, something like that. That's a guess. But look at this. Here's something I prepared earlier. And they turned out really well, that first batch. Let's hope the second one does as well. Absolutely delicious. Organic vegan muffins, good for us, good for the planet. And on this Virgo full moon, I'd really like to acknowledge all the work that goes unnoticed, all the things that we take for granted. You know, I was a kid, when I was a kid, of course I was a kid. When I was a kid, my mum would create these amazing meals. She'd make me a separate meal as a vegetarian when I was little, you know, I became vegetarian at 12, she'd put this amazing feast on the table and we'd just think, oh, this is really quite normal to have an incredible feast on the table every night. Then I, you know, had my own kid and I was pretty pleased with myself if I had a meal on the table every night. So all that work that goes unnoticed, which is often the work of women, it really is. It's that's so undervalued in our culture. It still is. Homemaking, raising kids, you know, which is such bloody hard work, and keeping a lovely home. I'm not saying it's only women. Of course, men do all this too, but in general, in our culture, it's that stuff, that Virgoan, that priestess stuff, that is so often overlooked, and yet it's what makes everything so gracious and lovely in our lives. So as I eat this sacred vegan muffin, I honour that Virgo energy in all of us and remind us to tap into the magic of the everyday. When you're doing the dishes, when you're cleaning your home, whatever you're doing, just remember this is an act of magic, and it really is. Magic that turns a mushy thing into a delicious muffin through the power of Hestia of the hearth. One quick song, we'll open circle. This is about balance, this time of equinox, nearly equinox, just a couple of weeks to go, and or less than a couple of weeks, and the equinox is equal day and equal night across the whole planet. It'll be spring equinox in the north and autumn equinox in the southern hemisphere. And for a moment there, we're sharing this split second of balance across the whole planet, and then it starts to move again toward the solstices of extreme. But find that balance in our own lives at this point too. So here we go. Above and below, within and without, the masculine, feminine. Earth below, stars up above you. Earth below, stars up above you. Earth below, stars up above you. Remember the flow as above, so below. As above, so below. One of the universe, spiral unfolding. Helix of galaxy, winding its spell in me. Infinity, 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 infinity. Born of the universe, child of Mother Earth, that's born of the galaxy, that spirals its spell in me. Infinity, 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 infinity. Earth below and stars up above you. Earth below, stars up above you. Earth below, stars up above you. Remember the flow. Remember the flow. Remember the flow. As above, so below. Thanks for tuning in, guys. I hope that you make your own batch of muffins. Send me a photo if you do. I'm not sure if we can post pictures on in the comments section on Patreon. I'm going to try to set that up, but if not, let me know how you go. Lots of variations. You can just use what's around, and essentially you're just getting your dry goods together, your wet stuff. Your dry is a combination of your flour, your raising agent, sugar if you want it, nuts and seeds and things like that, your spices. Your wet is a mixture of your plant milks, your oil, and your binding agent, flaxseed or chia mixed with some water, a mushed up banana if you're doing banana, otherwise apples, etc. in with the dry. Mix it together, chuck it in the oven, and this is what you've got. Let's open our circle. Thank you for being patrons too. It's amazing. I'm so grateful. I love being able to share this kind of stuff with you. Thank you, energies of earth, of food, of form, of the magic in the everyday. Earth, thank you. Hail and farewell. Thank you, water of flow and change, of mutability, the blood in our veins, of Mother Ocean, of cleansing rain. Water, thank you. Hail and farewell. Thank you, energy of fire, of Hestia, of the hearth, the sacred hearth that turns inedible stuff into delicious food that warms our home. Fire, thank you. Hail and farewell. Thank you, energies of air, of laughter and play, of trickster energy, of Mercury. Please go direct right now. That was a pretty minor upheaval, wasn't it? Just a little thing. I got to make a second batch of muffins. It's all good. Usually for me, people freak out about Mercury retrograde, but it's, to me, that's Mercury going inward, going underground, spending his time in the underworld. So anyway, air. Thank you. Thank you for birds and butterflies and this awakening spring here in the Northern Hemisphere. Air, hail and farewell. And thank you, Spirit, the everything, the above, the below, the within, the without. Spirit who is God, Spirit who is Goddess, and Spirit who is everything in between and beyond that binary distinction. Spirit who is me, Spirit who is you, Spirit of 1,000 names and Spirit nameless, thank you. By earth and air and fire and water and by the power of Spirit, this circle is open but remains unbroken. Merry meet and merry part and merry meet again. Blessed be. Thank you.